What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you guys have a fantastic day today. And today I have a very interesting video that I thought of. There's a couple of things on my mind that I thought it would be interesting to talk about with you guys. A couple of theories that I have, mainly that I want to discuss, mainly about GeminiJets and not necessarily bad things. Just a couple of things that I thought of, especially after Tuesday's March 16th's unbelievable event. So yeah, I thought that this would be neat to talk about. I just want to give a disclaimer before I start the video. If I say anything or make any mistakes or anything like that, I apologize. That's not my intention. I think the majority of the information I've given here and thoughts are pretty valid and adequate. So if I make any mistakes or anything like that, I apologize, but if anybody has any corrections or anything, please politely correct me in the comment section. That would be much appreciated. But yeah, this isn't to start controversy or whatever. This is simply just some theories that I have that I wanted to see if anybody else has kind of picked up on these sort of things. So I have a couple of different sections I'm going to break this into. I have a larger conspiracy theory that I kind of want to talk about that I'm kind of interested to see what Gemini's going to do. I have a couple of individual topics that I kind of want to talk about for a few minutes and that sort of thing. And then I'm kind of at the end going to go on probably a little bit more about the March releases because I was kind of at a loss for words. I'm recording this the Wednesday after they came out. So only a day after they came out. So I think I'm gathering my thoughts a little bit more at this point. So anyways, we're going to get started with today's video. Kind of have a little timeline down here of everything. So if I'm looking down, that's why I just have a little timeline driven out. So I'm going to start with my bigger conspiracy theory, if you will, and then I'm going to kind of progress into the other things I have to talk about in this video. So maybe want to grab a snack or a beverage. I know some of these videos have been longer recently. Just a lot to talk about, so I appreciate you guys taking the time. Also, there is a ring light here, so if you see the reflection in my eyes, hopefully that's not too annoying. I'm not sure if that's annoying to you guys or not, but just want a little bit better light in here because it's kind of a gloomy day. Nevertheless, we're going to start with this video, and I'm going to start with the conspiracy theory that I have for GeminiJets. Alrighty, so let's start with this conspiracy theory I have, and it's mainly about releases, but there's been a couple of trends that I picked up on that have me feeling some interesting ways. So I'm going to start with that. So I began collecting in May of 2012, and my very first model was an American Airlines 757-200 in the chrome livery. It was 602. So I've been collecting for quite a long time, about 9 years now. So that's quite a long time. And I'm only going to pretty much go off the range that I know the best. I'm not going to pick up on, I'm pretty much going to talk about the latter half, the last 10 years of GeminiJets, more so with these trends that I've seen. If anybody's been collecting for 20 years and maybe has a little bit better of an idea on this, please let me know. But I'm going to go off what we've seen the last 10 years and kind of show you guys what kind of some of my projections are. So this is kind of a little timeline segment, if you will. So there's a couple different eras that I want to talk about and some different trends that I picked up on that have me feeling a certain way about what GeminiJets may do in the future. So let's talk about that. So from 2014 to 2017, from what I remember, GeminiJets was always releasing quite a bit of fire, if you know what I mean. They were always usually having something really solid and never released, pardon me. And they always were doing some really good stuff. Like for example, in 2014 there was some big releases, and it was kind of balanced out, you know. It wasn't like every month was like completely fire, but it wasn't like every month was just all heavies, if you know what I mean. So it was like you would have a really nice Virgin America A319 or United CRJ700, and then the July-August combined release was absolutely fire. There was a Southwest 737, a US Airways 757, American A321, and the Gemini 200s I think were good. And then later that year, the US Airways A319 came out. There was a Delta 757-300, United 757-200, 300, United 739. And the regional jets at this point in time, because the regional jets kind of have a big part of why I'm here today to talk. The regional jets were there, but it wasn't just in crazy increments. I would say it's not necessarily comparable to what we've seen the last few years, but it's been kind of interesting. But there were some regionals in there, so they weren't completely a lost cause. So with all that being said, 2014 was really good, and then this era from 2014 to 2017 is what I want to talk about, because 2014 was really, really good. It was kind of the last year where we saw a bunch of, or how should I word this? It was kind of the last year for a few years where we didn't see a ton of regionals. And if I'm wrong on this, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure we didn't see a ton of regionals from 2013 to 14. In 2015, that's when things really started to pick up on regional jets, and that's kind of where the big part of this plays. So there's a lot of key elements from 2015 to 2017 I want to talk about that GeminiJets did was really good. So in my opinion, I think GeminiJets was fully at their prime in 2015. This is when they were doing a really nice variety of models. The molds were pretty solid. Like the only really bad one at that point was the new 737 mold. And there was just a really nice balance and blend of stuff. Lots of good internationals were being released, and honestly, it was a really nice distribution of everything. I remember in January there were like 3 new American releases, and then Delta CRJ 700 came out. The United Express Embraer ERJ-145. I want to say the CRJ 200 came out in 2016, so I'm going to leave that for now. But there was just a really good variety in 2015, and then also in 2015, another key thing to note. GeminiJets did a ton of low-cost carrier models. They did a few Southwest models, all the 300s, the Heart 700, and the Heart 1800. And there's probably one I'm missing. They did the Frontiers. Both of those, I think they were 2015. They may have lingered into 2016, so I apologize if I missed that. Maybe Champ may have been 2017, but in this era is kind of why I'm referring to it like this. Spirit 319 and the 320, I believe both were 2015s. And there was a ton of, there was a lot of really good variety in 2015. 2015, in my opinion, like I said, was kind of the peak year. There was a lot of everything that came out, and there was just so much good stuff that came out in 2015. It was a peak time for collecting for sure. And every release, like I said, you had some releases that were really, really good, but at the same time, every release wasn't marking up heavies. There were some releases that were quiet, but for the most part, every release had at least 1 or 2 really good models. And this is even international included, but obviously since I'm in the US, that's kind of what I remember the best, so that's kind of what I'm going off for the most part, but you can definitely say internationally that there was still some really good stuff as well. 2016 was a lot of the same. There was still... They backed off a little from the low-cost carriers to a degree, but there was still a ton of JetBlue aircraft. The United and Delta CRJ-200s, the American Eagle CRJ-200, and then in this era as well from 2016 and 2017, all 3 of the American Heritage 737s came out, American A320, and then the 787-9, 777 One World, and then the 767s as well. So there was some really good variety from American Airlines. United, I want to say that there was the fair share of 787s, 777s, 767s. I want to say that was all there. And then Delta as well had some really nice stuff in this time frame. The 737 from 2015 comes to mind, but there was also quite a few other models that were really good. Let me think here of what all. 2017 they did the CRJ 700 and then the Delta CRJ 200. The 170, the Embraer 170, they did that in 2016 or 17 was one of the years. I think 16. I'm just making sure I don't miss anything. There was a couple 321s in there for Delta. So yeah, it was a really good overall set, and there was some good stuff. But keep in mind, one thing to note is the low-cost carriers for 2016 was down a little bit. It's still quite a few JetBlues, and it was still pretty solid overall. Then the JetBlue Embraer 190 was big as well, and then the Blueprint came out in 2017 too. And there was a lot of really good models that came out. And then 2017 was kind of like the icing on the cake and kind of the wrap-up, if you will. The 320 for American and 789 may have been 2017, but there was some nice variety in there, and the QC was still very, very good for the time. At this point, this is when the new Airbus mold, narrow body mold came into effect, which we know the story on that. Narrow body mold, new A330 molds I think debuted sometime from 2015 to 2017. The new 777 mold was 2016, so a lot of new molds started to rotate in during this time frame. But it didn't kill all the models because a lot of key elements happened to where it just completely went haywire, if you will. So my point is, from the 2014 to 2017 era, there was a lot of really good variety, and every release was not marking up heavies. There was a lot of really, really good stuff, and GeminiJets did a fantastic job of getting some balance and blend. There was also a ton of really good international stuff from what I remember, narrow body and wide body, and kind of worldwide. And let's also not forget, that next generation models was not making models. GeminiJets' main competition, if you will, was Aero Classics, Dragon Wing, or JC Wings, not Dragon Wings, JC Wings. Witty Wings that was kind of their ending, was like 2014-15, I think. So the 2014-2017 era was really interesting. In my opinion, GeminiJets is prime. A lot of really good variety, regional jets, low-cost carriers, and that sort of thing. Also, Alaskas. I cannot forget about Alaska models. All kinds of 737s were produced during the 2015-2017 timeframe. Literally all kinds of stuff. Because of the new livery and everything, but still, just absolutely insane. So, when 2018 began, it kind of started to fizzle. Some interesting things started to happen. The first half of 2018 overall was pretty solid. There was some nice American models. I want to say United was fairly quiet. Now, one thing that they did do a lot of in early 2018, if I remember correctly, is there was a lot of Delta models produced. 757-300, A330, 767, and all those in between. A 330-200 may have been thrown in there. A 350, that may have been late 2017, but still. And all that sort of thing. There was a lot of Delta models produced, and we're going to come back to that. There was a lot of really good Delta models produced in that time frame, so keep that in mind for later in the video. A lot of Delta models produced. And then July came, August. And the model that everybody is going to remember GeminiJets for, at least quite a few people, and kind of the turning point, if you will, is the American Airlines A321 LUS with fence tips. That was when GeminiJets, that's when GeminiJets got flipped upside down and all around. QC was awful. There was so many of those models that came broken. GeminiJets 13 and unknown as CLT Aviation 13 made one heck of a video on the situation. He received all three of his broken after being highly anticipated for his Charlotte Model Airport. And oh man, it was quite a situation with the American A321. I did get both of mine intact, but overall it was just really, really, really interesting to see that happen. And then the latter part of 2018, from what I remember, was pretty quiet. I want to say Delta 220 probably came out at some point in that time frame. That may have been early 2018, but it was somewhere in there. But really, marquee-wise, I don't remember a ton of Uniteds being released in this time frame. I don't really remember a ton of stuff from late 2018. And I was paying attention. I remember paying attention. But it really seemed like everything was really dull. I can't tell you off the top of my head if they were doing a ton of heavies yet or not. I would say probably a good mix. There was definitely some. Not to say that they were doing horrible models. It was just really, really quiet. But there was quality controls issues. A lot of really interesting models came out for sure, but GeminiJets really kind of went under the radar in this period. Yeah, that's what I had on my notes, so just making sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, in that time frame, it was really interesting. I remember doing my airport updates and everything, but I don't remember anything absolutely insane coming out. Southwest, that's another key element to think about. Southwest was dead from Triple Crown 1, which was, I want to say was Christmas 2016 maybe, or 17 was one of the years. Up until 2019. Absolutely, late 2019, keep in mind. Absolutely dead. They didn't do, the only models they did, I think, were 2 Maxes, and that was it. And one of the Maxes was in 2017. I want to say they only did one Southwest model for 2 years. But keep that in mind, because I'm going to bring that back up, them not doing stuff for a while in a few moments. So the 2018 period was very interesting. Then we landed in 2019. We saw some very interesting narrow bodies with the Delta 738, the United 738, FedEx 738, etc. We saw some really interesting narrow bodies. We did not see many regional jets. However, in 2018, there were some decent regional jets produced. The Alaska E-175, the Q400, 319 and 320, those two. Those may have been early 2018, so I'm sorry about the release dates. I know a lot more when we get into 2018. I'm a little better than past 2019, if you know what I mean. So it was a really interesting demographic. 2019 rolls around. You know, you have some nice releases like the American A321neo, Delta 738. I hate to say it, but that's what's coming to my head is nothing. The United one came in 2018 or 19. I think it was 19. No Southwest, no Frontier, no Spirit, no JetBlue. We're talking early 2018 right now, keep in mind. It was really quiet, if you know what I mean. And then the June set, I think, June or July, I want to say June, was the American A321neo and 737 Chrome. And then, obviously, if you remember, that fall, GeminiJets got absolutely lit up again a year later after the American A321. They got absolutely lit up for their Chrome 737, the American Heritage one that came out in June or July 2019. I got it broken, Aviation 18 got it broken, I think AS Aviation got it broken. Everybody felt like got it broken. Every time I see somebody selling it on a Facebook group or something, wings detached into plastic. And it was just a really rough sequence for GeminiJets through that period. Their October, I think, 2019 set was pretty good. We had the FedEx and 757 MD-11 JetBlue A321neo. I want to say there may have been a couple others. That may have been August or September. The United 737-800 came out too, which was good. Surprised the QC was actually decent on that model. So there were some really interesting models. And then the next era, I feel like this era that I'm talking about next, which is November 2019 up until February of 2021, Citrus Aviation or a couple of these guys may be able to back me up a little better. This era may linger back all the way back to more like mid-2019, like even that June set maybe. But it feels like from November of 2019 to February of 2021, this is, all right, I'll just read it directly off my notes, exactly what I put, and kind of tell you guys what I found from that set. One good release per quarter and marking up heavies. That's all I have, and I'll explain myself. GeminiJets from November of 2019, at least from what I remember, it may be a little bit farther back, like early 2019, pardon me, or mid. From that period, here's what you would expect from GeminiJets, at least from what I've analyzed. Once per season or every quarter, you would get a good release. For example, November of 2019, you got a nice set for US domestic. And this is kind of just overall. That's what we're going off of, mainly US domestic. But I mean, internationally too, there's some elements. But let's just keep this in mind for US collectors, because that's mainly what we have here. But I know there's a lot of international guys, and please comment and help me out. I'm still trying to get better with all these releases. And let's also keep in mind, the reason that I separated this into a different category at this separation point as well was because this is when NG models turned up. Everybody started to learn about NG models about that July period, but I feel like they started really turning up. I mean, it's kind of hard to distinguish between July of 2019 or April of 2020. We may do a vote on that, see what you guys think. But I mean, everybody kind of knew about NG after July 2019 set, so maybe July is kind of the place to put it. But for sure, April, no doubt, after April. So GeminiJets was in an interesting spot. They had competition now, and they were. It was really, really interesting because from this period, like I said, you would have one good release per quarter. November 2019, Southwest Colorado 1, United CRJ 550, Air Canada 200, Alaska Meatball, etc. That may have been December, so my bad if it was. But anyways, February of 2020, that was your really killer winter release for 2020. That season, you know. Southwest Tennessee 1, United CRJ, or sorry, E145, E175, and A319. August of 2020 was your really, really good summer release. Southwest Florida 1, Delta A220, Spirit A321. Keep in mind. And I'm going to come back and touch on stuff, so don't worry. I'm just saying, for example, December of 2020, Spirit A320neo, Southwest Illinois 1, Air Force 2, British Airways Concorde, Antonov 124, and there was some really nice variety in there. I want to say there was a Delta Thank You and Iberia Express and all those internationals too. So with all that being said, there was a good release per season. However, all the other months, for the most part, it was marking up heavies, unfortunately. GeminiJets it was not uncommon to see them drop anywhere from 5 to 7 heavies per release. January was a prime example of that for 2021. They did 6 or 7, I think. September and October were really rough. I think September they did like, 6, and then October they did an additional few. June and July, they marked them up like nobody's business. And I'm sure they may have did this back in the middle of 2019. So if somebody would please confirm that, I would appreciate it. But I mean, they were marking up heavies like nobody's business. And still relatively worked to some degree. So that was kind of the Gemini jets that we've got to know for the last couple of years. From collecting for 10 years, I can tell you, at least from what I remember now, I wasn't like, I didn't, I wouldn't say that I was like literally only a casual collector, but I would say that I was an intermediate. I wasn't literally paying attention to every single detail, if you will. It was, there was some elements that were really rough, from what I remember. Lots of heavies, and it was just a really rough sequence. Internationals also lacked sometimes, the narrow bodies especially, that's what I meant. And then, I want to talk about where we're at right now. March of 2021, because I feel like this release, unless if I'm dreaming, is going to set the tone for the next era of Gemini jets, and I'll tell you why. So we obviously saw what was in this release. If anybody wants to go count it up and figure out what the last release was that Gemini jets only did 2 heavies, both of them were good. Both of them were good. But the last time Gemini jets only did 2 heavies, more so 2 regional jets. Gemini jets, guys, Gemini jets did as many regional jets as they did heavies in one release. That is unheard of. What was the last time they did that? Probably maybe 2017 if we're lucky. I can't remember the last time Gemini jets released 2 regional jets in one release. More so only 2 heavies. I would be eager to know which one they last did. 2 heavies or 2 regional jets. Probably 2 regional jets, but I mean that is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Now keep in mind that, I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind because this is so crazy. I feel like this release is going to set the tone because I've noticed some trends throughout these eras that have really caught my eye. Now there's been a couple of things that people have said, quite a few people have said, that I'm going to touch on here. But yeah, and also keep in mind this last era that NG models is now a factor. Now, there's a couple of key elements that I want to go into. I'm going to start with the 2 quotes that I have in my head right now, and then I'm going to talk about Delta situation. I'm going to talk about molds. I'm going to talk about NG models being a new competitor. I'm going to talk about prices, and then I'm going to talk about the releases, what I'm thinking. So let's start with the 2 quotes that I'm thinking of. For the last 6 months or so, I've heard these 2 quotes. Gemini Jets is improving, and Gemini Jets is listening. Now here's what I have to say to those 2. I'm going to just do it all in one. It's kind of the same. Gemini Jets is listening, Gemini Jets is improving. Now, there's still a lot to be told. I'm really eager to see what they do next month especially, but I really am eager to see what they will do the next 3 months. Because Gemini Jets could easily set the tone. Now, my answer to them listening, I have to say yes and no to some degrees. So one key thing that comes to my mind immediately is, I want to say back in the summer or so at some point, Gemini Jets did one of the Instagram question things, and they said, what models would you like to see us release in the future? And a lot of us, I'm sure, at least from what I would have noticed, put Southwest, Frontier, Spirit, of course the Delta CRJ900, the American CRJ900, and then I'm sure the United CRJ200 was on there. Frontier, like I said, and all of that good stuff that we really want. I'm sure there was some select internationals and all that. But yeah, just for a retrospective. Now guys, keep in mind, let's bring back up what I said earlier. Gemini Jets said that they would, or ask what we wanted, okay? Gemini Jets went without doing a lot of low-cost carriers until November of 2019. Well, actually, timeout. No, timeout. Let's exclude that. GeminiJets went a long time without doing low-cost carriers in general for U.S. until August is a good sweet spot. We'll say August. Now, obviously, Southwest finally came back full thrive. Southwest came back from November 2019. We finally got Southwest for the first time. That wasn't a max. Let me just rephrase that. For the first time in 2 years, we finally got a Southwest, I guess, if you will. Let's exclude the max for now. We finally got a Southwest, which was crazy. We couldn't believe it. And then in February, we got Tennessee 1, and everybody was starting to lose their minds. August, we got Florida 1. December, we got Illinois, and then the airplane shop exclusive Louisiana. And now we have the classic Desert Retro, which I'm so pumped for that. Oh. But anyways, I appreciate if you're watching this. I know it's going to be long, but honestly, I'm just spitting out right now. And if it's facts, sweet. If not, rest in peace. But GeminiJets is going absolutely crazy on the Southwest models now. Now keep in mind, they're not doing any normals. They're doing all specials, which is fine. At least we're getting some Southwest. But I do have one theory about that I'll talk about here in a minute. Now, it's really interesting because, keep in mind, after we requested Spirit, Frontier, more Southwest, regional jets, and JetBlue, and all that good stuff. August, Spirit A321, Southwest, Delta, good release. September, October, November, they skipped November, my bad, I forgot they skipped November. December, Spirit, Southwest, and all kinds of cool miscellaneous stuff. March, Southwest, regional jets, Southwest, regional jets, Frontier. If you guys don't get what I'm trying to say yet, I have a feeling that GeminiJets is finally going to start doing some really cool stuff here, because some low-cost carrier stuff, because they are finally starting to actually do it. 2 Spirits and a Frontier, and all of this Southwest. Guys, keep in mind from 2018 to, actually it's 2017. I don't think we got any Southwest really, just the 2 Maxes. Yeah, let's just say it that way. From 2017, correct me if I'm wrong, till the end of 2019, we're talking almost 3 years here. 2 Southwest models. Keep that in mind, all right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think I've counted 6 in about the last year and 3 months. Guys, that is triple compared to the last 2 years in 1 year. We're talking 1 per quarter, which is absolutely mind-boggling, because to think that we go from not having any Southwest to having Southwest now is absolutely mind-boggling. Okay. Now I have a couple theories that I'm going to use that example based off for what's next, but I feel like that there's going to be some more of where that came from. Now I'm going to leave a couple theories that I have for the end of this video, and I'm going to talk about a couple select things I had mentioned a few minutes ago, and then I'm going to talk about some of these theories I have, and then it'll probably be an hour long at that point. So anyways, I'm going to start with the Delta contract situation. From what I've heard some talk about Delta pretty much only wanting GeminiJets and SkyMarks to do Delta models. If not, it's going to be a big lawsuit type thing. I believe I heard that NG removed all their Delta models from their database, and I think everybody else is not supposed to be doing Delta models anymore. This is really sad if this is the case. If somebody would confirm, that would be great, but that's just what I've heard. Really sad because NG models, they were not even close to done on Delta stuff. I'm sure they wanted to do a 757 with winglets, A330, 737-900 when the time was right. And maybe this is just all talk, but I've heard the Delta contract. But there's one key thing that I want to keep in mind with the Delta contract. From what I remember, this video is probably going out tomorrow maybe, which is Thursday or something like that. But whenever this video comes out, Thursday, Saturday, whatever. The Delta contract stuff this was all going on about, I want to say I heard this around on Instagram and stuff about 2 weeks ago or so. When GeminiJets was wrapping up pictures for the February releases. Now, why I say that is because 2 weeks after all this smoke, GeminiJets released a Delta CRJ 900. Okay? A model that we literally, Todd probably gets 50 DMs a day asking. I'm probably not even kidding. GeminiJets probably got 50 DMs a day on Instagram asking for a Delta CRJ 900. So with that contract stuff going on, if it's legit, I have a feeling that that's all that Gemini was waiting on to do the Delta CRJ 900 because they didn't want anybody else doing it. Not that I don't think anybody else would have done it and won the 400 at least, but I feel like GeminiJets did not want anybody else getting in on the Delta CRJ 900. That's just the theory. Please let me know what you guys think about that, but I just wanted to bring that up. But if anybody has any more information about the Delta contract scenario, please let me know. But that's just what I've heard, that pretty much Delta only wants GeminiJets and Skymarks doing Delta models, and that's that. But hopefully that's not true, but if it is, which it probably is, I'm going to miss NG Delta aircraft, so that's that. Next up, I want to talk about molds here for a minute. If you haven't noticed, some of these molds that GeminiJets has been using now have been around for, some of them already have been around for quite a long time. For example, that 737 mold that we're used to, the typical 8-900 one, that one's already been around for 8 years, believe it or not. The 777 mold's been around for about 5 years now. That 757 mold's just been, that 757 mold's actually probably been around for 5 years because they actually did switch it over technically. You see, it was just some updated stuff, but it was very similar, so it has to be a different mold, I would think. 737-700 mold, it's been around. That newer one, not the Tennessee one and Colorado one, the newer one's been around for about 5 or 6 years now. And, you know, the A330 mold as well has been around for 5 or 6 years. I have a feeling with all this interactive stuff that they're doing and all that, I have a feeling that GeminiJets slowly but surely is going to start rolling out some new molds. This is just a theory. Whether that be the 737 first or something like that, because at some point, we've seen Aviation 400 do beacons, we've seen NG models do more antennas, and some different decal techniques and all that sort of thing. I feel like GeminiJets is going to start rolling out some new molds at some point. I don't know when this is going to be. If I had to take a guess, I think that they're going to start rolling out new molds in about 2 years. Whether that be wide scale or not, I'm not sure yet, but I feel like they're going to start rolling out some new molds. So I definitely keep your eyes out on that. Gemini is going to start doing some new molds at some point. It will be really interesting to see how they choose to go about this. Need to start with the Airbus narrow body, in my opinion, but I'm going to leave that because I have another theory that Gemini may do something, but that I may be pushing it with that one, but I'll talk about that here at the end. And then, so yeah, I feel like they may start doing some new molds in 2 to 3 years. That's another theory that I have. The next theory that I have is how they're competing right now with NG models. So obviously NG models has made a lot of models that US collectors have wanted. I'm not even going to get started on all the models, but American 737, United 737, Delta A321s, and everything in between. You name it, they have done quite a bit of stuff. All right. Now, if you guys have noticed, GeminiJets has done some of the models that NG has. Whether this be irony or however you say it, ironic C or whatever you want to say, or just a coincidence, or actually legit trying to compete. The Spirit A321, Qatar 789, and all that sort of thing. There's a lot of examples. Now, keep in mind, these have been, it just depends, but for the most part, NG has done them first. But obviously, Gemini does have to get the licensing regardless of what color they decide to use. So therefore, it's probably just ironic. But anyway, my point was, I feel like GeminiJets has, I feel like they kind of or how should I word this? I feel like they jumped the gun with this release particularly, because I feel like they probably were trying to do some of these models later on. But I feel like they did it all at once for a couple of reasons. Number one, the Delta contract situation. I feel like that's why the CRJ900 finally happened and got expedited, if you will. And that maybe is a reason that the GeminiJets March releases did not come out last week like we thought they may have, or the week before that even, was because of this Delta contract drama. And that could just be a theory, but just a thought. But crap, where was I? Sorry guys. Yeah, the release time. Because keep in mind, the 4 models they did in this release that was big time for US collectors. NG was on deck to do 2 of them really soon. The Frontier A321 and the Southwest 737-700 Desert Gold. I feel like those will be coming out from NG probably in the next few months. I feel like those were on deck. Especially that Frontier. I heard a lot of talk about that Frontier from NG. I know a lot of people requested that. So I feel like GJ purposely jumped the gun to try to get that done, and they got it done. Same for Southwest. The regional jets, obviously, NG does not have molds yet. Are they making them? Maybe. But I know NG's got requests for CRJ900s. There's no way they haven't. So my theory is GJ was jumping the gun, try to save some, because they were late on the Delta, thank you, late on the Spirit, theoretically, if you will, and a few other examples. But I feel like GJ purposely jumped the gun with this release to try to get in on a little bit of stuff that NG wants to do in the future, whether that's very short term or maybe a couple years down the line. I feel like GJ purposely tried to do this release like they did to try to jump the gun. So that's just another thought that I had. Honestly, I can't even get over this release. I also want to make a little note about prices and potentially another prediction if I think of a good one. Prices went up again. Regional jets are up to $34, which is crazy. And off the retailers, MSRP is like, oh boy, I think for the regionals it's probably like $45 probably. And then all the regional jets are about $38, rounded up I think 37, something like that. So here's what here's where we're at. GJ usually does a $2 mock-up. It appears to be about every 18 to 24 months-ish, maybe a little less. Every 12 to 24 months would be a wide, good, exponential range, if you will. Typically, they'll do a $2 increase. And keep in mind, most of the time, it's with the same molds. Now, personally, it's getting to the point where we know what's worth paying for. I mean, NG narrow bodies I think retail like $43.95, and the GJs now are like $37.56 or something. That's only $6 difference, and on some models it makes a difference, some it doesn't. Like the A321 mold, for example, if you want a better nose, a better landing gear, and of course the CFM engines, and then wing flex, it's obvious which way to go. But if you're talking about 757, for example, Air Force 2 was a prime example of that. You really got a good bang for your buck, even though the nose was slightly different on the Air Force 2 compared to another one. That's another one GJ probably tried to jump the gun on to beat NG to that, which I've heard speculation of that. But anyways, I have a feeling that prices will continue to go up. NG's still very new and hasn't really marked up prices on narrow bodies yet. So I'm going to be eager to see if they do that, and if they do, what kind of increment they're going to do it in, whether that be $1, $2, etc. Just check the time, making sure I'm not too late. Still got to record the Phoenix update. But it's really interesting, guys, because we have 2 companies going head on now, and I feel like GJ purposely shot the gun here to really make a statement and to try to save their butts. And they're definitely going to save them, that's for sure. With this release, this is they could do heavies for a whole year, and I think people will still be happy that the Delta CRJ900 came out. But anyways, it's really crazy to think about. So yeah, that is just unbelievable and really, really insane to see what we have from the Gemini of the jets. That was everything I had written down. I wanted to make a few other predictions. Oh, okay, I know what I want to make predictions on. I have a couple more things, and then I want to briefly talk about the release one more time, and that's going to be the video because we have a lot to talk about. I want to talk about the what I think Gemini's going to do. I could see GJ going one of two ways. I'm going to start with the way I hope they don't go, but I could see them doing it. GJ has been known in the past for doing big releases, and there's been instances back in the past where it's only been a big one per quarter, but not to the degree that they just go on hibernation mode and do heavies for 2 months, you know. They always would do something at least half decent, if you know what I'm trying to say. So what I think what I think could happen is GJ does heavies, and then in July or August do another big set, whether that be regionals or some nice mainline aircraft. Who knows? But I feel like either Gemini could do that, or they finally get their crap together and finally start doing 1 to 2 nice models per month for everybody. Even though this may be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, I do think that the February releases were kind of a prime example of what I think Gemini should do. Half heavies, half narrow bodies. Get a regional jet or two thrown in there. It would be great. But there was a mixed bag. It was something for everybody. Now, you can't mark up heavies for 9 out of 12 months and tell me that there's going to be something for everybody out of all these heavies. Absolutely not. And the nice release per quarter maybe works better money-wise. I mean, when you care about the customers for almost 20 years, 1998 to, let's say, 2017 again, so 20 years, fair enough. You can't tell me that you're just going to completely just flop on yourself and only do heavies. Like, come on. Surely we can do a little better than that. But here we are. We've done all these heavies. Now, it's going to be really interesting to watch what GJ does from here. But like I was saying, what I hope they do is do a nice 1 to 2 models per month. Kind of similar to what they did with February, but like change it up every month. So maybe we get like a Delta E-175 with enhanced winglets. That would make a release by itself. And a United 757-200, but then everybody else gets something like a Jet 2 757 or what's a cool retro model? A TWA 707 or something. You know, this, because NG's done such a good job of balance and blend over the months, even though they've been quite US modern recently. Excluding that, they've had some really nice diverse sets, whether that be in a 10 model increment or 20 models. Like for example, their November set, I know it was 20 models originally, but they had all kinds of diversity. The January 2020 set was a prime example. You do 2 American A321s, an Air Lingus, and there was a variety of internationals that were in there that I can't remember. Or the April 2020 set, I know there was some really cool, there was like a 4 Seasons and some really cool 757s in there and all kinds of good stuff. And then of course the Sun Country, Southwest, and 2 United 757s. So I feel like GJ's either going to go one or two ways. I feel like they're going to continue to mark up heavies pretty drastically and do a nice release per quarter. Or they're going to continue to do a nice release per quarter, but do more nice solid medium sets like they did from 2014 to 2017. If GJ wants to bounce back, that's what they need to do, is they need to have a nice release every once in a while, but have a nice mixed bag of everything, not just heavies, everything, every month. Like NG's doing right now. You're going to get some narrow bodies and you're going to get some heavies. Not regional jets yet because they're not quite here, but we have to keep in mind, NG's only been around for, I think, technically like only 3 years. So they have slack. GeminiJets have been around for 23 years or whatever. So my camera battery's going to die, so I'm going to get a new one real quick. Okay, my apologies about that. But anyways, like I was saying, I feel like GeminiJets is going to do some really good stuff. Hopefully, I'm leaning towards they're going to, because they have some signs that they are not scared to do what the community wants to see, US-wise and some international too. You guys are not excluded by any means. We've had the QantasLink Q200, Jet 2, and then the silver one, that's slipped my mind, and then the TUI, LL, and all of those. So by no means are you guys excluded from this. But I really feel like Gemini could put it all together and get a new era rolling, because I honestly feel like this would be the time to do it after releasing a Delta Series 900. Now's the time to do it. So GeminiJets, if you're somehow watching this, guys, just tell them. And it's kind of another thing to think about. One thing that I did want to mention is, guys, we finally did it. If we wouldn't have DM'd Todd 50 times a day asking for a Delta CRJ 900, we wouldn't have got one. I can guarantee you that. They would have continued to mark up heavies. Because we made it obvious. I mean, I'm not going to start on the eBay $1,000 situation right now. That's a whole different video that we're going to have to talk about now. The follow-up is going to have to happen now. I will say though, if you did buy one, I personally would not hold it against you, because who would have expected this to finally happen? A Delta CRJ 900? Absolutely nobody. Guys, they've done like only 5 regional jets in the last 2 years. Nobody would have expected them to finally do it. Okay, dude, I thought I was in a dream yesterday. All right, I thought I was in a dream. You watched my video yesterday. I think I was in a dream, but nobody would have expected that. So I wouldn't hold it against you if you bought one for $1,000 or whatever, or even $300, because honestly, especially if you really wanted it, there's no problem with that. And plus, that model 679, pardon me, is still going to be hard to find. So I wouldn't hold it against you, honestly. Now there's a couple of predictions that I have for GeminiJets on what they're going to release US wise, North American carriers, or US carriers wise. Based off the trends that we saw with Southwest and low-cost carriers, I feel like we're going to see a couple of things. I feel like, here's my bold prediction. If it's wrong, it's okay, but this is just what I have to say. Let me know what you think. I feel like GeminiJets this month starts a new era. It may take some time, progressively, but I feel like they're finally going to lighten up on the heavies, progressively potentially, but maybe all at once. They're going to start lightening up on heavies, and finally start doing some nice mixed bags of stuff that everybody wants. Like we saw in February, for example. There was literally something for everybody. However, you can't tell me with 7 heavies in a January set that everybody's going to find something out of that, especially with how particular it was. We're not going to get into that right now. I feel like GeminiJets is going to start doing some very interesting stuff, but I feel like it's going to be really good. Now here's what I feel like they're going to do. I'm also going to bring in one more example to back up my claim here in just a minute. There's some particular airlines and types of aircraft that I feel like they're going to start doing more of in this new era, because I do have a feeling this is a new era for GeminiJets. This is what I feel like we're going to see. I'm going to split this up into 3 sections. Airlines, the type of aircraft, and what their competitors are doing, if you will. I'm going to start with the airlines, because that's what's off the top of my head. I feel like we're finally going to see some JetBlue aircraft. I feel like they're probably going to start with the A220, and then we're finally going to see some special liveries, like the Boston Red Sox, the Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets, and all those that Aerocost did. I feel like they're going to start doing those potentially once every 3 months, but I feel like we're going to see some JetBlues. Kind of like what they're doing with Southwest, but I feel like we're going to start to see that. Because during that era from 2014, 2017, they did that very consistently. So I feel like we're going to see that. There may be a couple of Embraer 190s sprinkled in too. I feel like we're going to see JetBlue. I feel like Alaska's potentially a possibility. We may see that more on like a different basis, but I feel like between Alaska and JetBlue, we're either going to see those happen. I feel like we're going to see those happen. One of those 2 airlines is going to be done more frequently. I have a better feeling it's going to be JetBlue, because Alaska they did a lot of from 2016 to 2018 especially, but I feel like Alaska's not impossible. But that's okay, because NG right now has the 737 molds and they don't have the Airbuses. So I'd rather see GeminiJets with the IAEs mainly, especially because that's what JetBlue has in their 320s. And then don't exclude the XLRs and XLRs when those come out. The last JetBlue GJ did was that Neo, and they only have done one in like the last 3 years. So they got JetBlue's going to happen. I feel like that's my bold prediction, but I would not rule out Alaska. I feel like we're going to keep getting a mixed bag. This Southwest era, I'm not sure if it's going to end. I hope not, but I feel like they're going to keep it rolling probably. So I would expect at least a few more of those. I feel like American, Delta, and United narrow bodies, we're going to see a good mixed bag of. We're overdue on United narrow bodies. We got the 319, but that was in Evo. We've yet this, or 738, fine, okay, but that was like already a year and a half ago. We're overdue on 320, 739, 739 Max re-release. I feel like that's got to happen. It's got to happen. Oh my gosh, it was so hot in Phoenix when I saw it. Well, yeah, because they've already done all the heavies. They've already knocked every one of those out, so there's no reason to keep doing those. But that will lead me into my next prediction, because I feel like we're going to see some United narrow bodies and maybe some more heavies. Maybe. We'll see. I feel like the next round of Delta heavies will start very soon, because obviously they did that intermission, or period, I should say, 2017-ish to 2018, where they did a bunch of Delta heavies. So I feel like Delta heavies are going to be back. They haven't done one since the 330 Neo, I think. So I would expect a re-release of the 350, probably A330-300, maybe 763, and that sort of thing. Probably overdue on the Delta 752. But they've done some Delta narrow bodies. The 220s, the 737-900 was back in 2019, but anyways, you know, that was still there, and that sort of thing. So I feel like GeminiJets is going to continue to do a nice variety on Delta narrow bodies, but I feel like the Delta heavy era will begin very soon again. So I would keep an eye out on that. And I feel like they're probably going to take advantage of that, especially now that they have the contract, which may be some of the reason why they didn't do it for the longest time. So I feel like the Delta heavy era will be back in JetBlue. American, I feel like we're going to see a lot more narrow bodies. They've done all the heavies again. They may do a 330 or something to kind of top that off, but that's kind of going to be icing on the cake. I feel like we're going to see some more American narrow bodies. Re-release of 737, A319, A321 probably, and that sort of thing. That's what I would expect. There's probably going to be some miscellaneous stuff in there too. For example, there's probably going to be some silver. Breeze Airways is starting up soon. I'm super excited about them. So maybe a Breeze Airways number 190 or something cool, or 220. And that sort of miscellaneous still. We may get a few more Spirits. We may get a few more Frontiers, hopefully. JetBlue, I think, is coming. Just making sure I cover everybody. Potentially, we see some WestJets maybe, or Aeromexico's maybe. I wouldn't rule that out by any means, because in those eras they did some of those models too. So keep that in mind, especially 2014, 2017. That's why I was saying that era was so good, because it was such a mixed bag of everything. I also feel like we're going to see some internationals that people actually want, like the British Airways 777-200, for example. They've done a good job on the 747-380. I feel like we're going to see some stuff that internationals that people really want. Maybe some more normal liveries like Qatar 333s. We finally got that Virgin Atlantic a few months ago. So I feel like we're going to see some more of that stuff. Also, they have been fairly light on A350s from my observations, so I feel like some 350s may be coming too. And I could just be way off, but I'm just here to say what I think. Aircraft types. I feel like we're probably going to see some really cool variety here as well. Mainline aircraft, I feel like we're hopefully going to see more of. International and US both. We need to see that. And then I finally feel like this is going to be the start of the next regional jet era. You can't tell me they do a United CRJ200 and Delta 730, or sorry, a CRJ900 and don't start doing regional jets. I feel like the ones that really got to get done is the American CRJ900. Obviously, I'm not even going to start on that right now. Delta 175, normal and enhanced winglets for Republic or whoever, SkyWest, that would be great. United 145 blue, Evo Blue with enhanced would be fantastic. There's so many regionals that they could do. Hopefully they got access to all those molds, but I really hope that they do those. I feel like there's going to be some really good variety. This era is going to have some real balance and blend. That's a bold prediction that I'm making. This is the new era. It may progressively start to change. It may all change immediately, but I feel like by the end of the year, we're going to have some real progression. Their quality control, that's to be... we'll have to see. Theoretically, if you will, most of it's been good, it seems. Spirit Neos came with no issues. The Spirit A321s, the Frontier A321, Delta, thank you. So it appears to be that those have been going really well for GeminiJets, which is fantastic. I'm really glad to see that. And make sure I'm not losing all my thoughts here. They've been really good. So I hope to see that continue. But But yeah, maybe a new mold rolls out. Maybe we get some more interactives. I would say more interactives will probably happen. Probably new interactive mold to come here in the next few months. That one I would be a little more confident on, probably. I'm also going to make a prediction. This is going to be probably my last one. And if you guys want to see a part 2 to this, I really enjoyed doing this. So let me know if you guys want to see a part 2. Really enjoyed it. Make sure we're good on time. Okay. I'm going to make one more bold prediction. I feel like GeminiJets is going to ask on an Instagram story or something in the next few months. I feel like they're going to do another bold feedback request. Whether that be on how to improve their models, or maybe another round of what models we want to see done, or that sort of thing. I'm going to make that bold prediction. I'm going to make a prediction that GeminiJets is going to do another bold request for feedback on some social media platform. I'm also going to make a bold prediction on 2 other things, really small things, but I thought they're kind of cool. I feel like GeminiJets may take a stab at doing another sort of accessory. They obviously, a couple years back, did the maintenance hanger thing. That slips my mind, the yellow thing. It's like the railing or whatever. The new concourse came out, and I feel like they're going to do some sort of updated hanger or something. I have a feeling. Or maybe some ground service equipment at last. Some accessories I think are coming. I feel like that's going to happen as well. And I thought I had something else. Maybe they reactivate Twitter or something. But GeminiJets. I know this video was all about GeminiJets, but why don't we talk about our guys after what they did? I'm going to recap the March releases one more time. This is probably the best release I've ever seen. This is crazy. You don't go around every day listening for one model to be released on a daily basis, and then it finally happens. But I mean, GeminiJets is really going to make a statement if they do another regional jet that people really want. Everybody knows which one we think, but even a Delta 175 would be huge. Or at some point, Republic's probably going to paint their 170s into the Evo blue, so maybe that. I mean, there's a lot of potentials. But GeminiJets, man, I talked about these guys for an hour. There's a lot that goes down. If you made it this point in the video, I really appreciate it. And definitely leave me some feedback. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if I had any really bad claims or was way off on something, I really apologize. But I have a feeling that they're going to do some really, really good stuff. And hopefully we come back to this video and a lot of that stuff happens. Hopefully the regional jets come. Hopefully Delta wide bodies start happening again in JetBlue and all these really cool airlines. And I'm sure there's going to be some select stuff they do overseas too. Maybe we see some British Airways narrow bodies at last. It's been a while since they've done those consistently. Or, for example, like a Korean Air 737 or something, or like Qantas 737 or something really cool. I know there's a lot of you guys that are asking for stuff everywhere. I know that there's a lot of Middle East stuff that hasn't been done, or Asia stuff, Europe stuff, Africa stuff, everything like that. I know there's a ton of needs that need to be fulfilled. But I feel like we have a new era on our hands, guys, and I'm super excited. Let me know what your predictions are down in the comment section if you made it this point. Massive thank you, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, guys, train's rolling. We're ready to get those pre-orders in. I'll just show you guys real quick. I got some really cool models. So as you can tell, I got some really good models right there, and the future is bright. Just look at that lighting difference. And also let me know if I should shave or not. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. But nevertheless, really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Phoenix should be coming out tomorrow. If this is going up Thursday, if it's going up Saturday, it's going on. You can check that out if it's already out. But anyways, hope you guys all have a fantastic day. Thank you for listening to me for an hour. And yeah, it's hard to hold this DSLR, and I'm sure you guys are tired of listening to me talk. So I hope you guys all take it easy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, guys. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys soon. Later.